live. This is KCTV5 News at 6.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight at 6. I'm Nydja Hood. Looks like some rain showers are out in our near future. Here's a live look over Kansas City as those storms start to roll in. Let's head right over to First Warn 5 meteorologist Warren Sears for a look at what we can expect. Warren? So I am standing in the middle of a low water bridge. I'm treading lightly now because these water levels are so high. This bridge isn't even safe enough to pass through. So right here where I'm standing, the water's about up to my ankles, and it looks like it's okay, but then you could see what appears to be a slab of concrete. Step on it, my foot sinks right through, and that just goes to show this water is a lot deeper than it appears. Now, Savannah, I just washed my car yesterday. Was that the right move to make?
Okay, yeah, that was perfect.
Okay, let's have a little taste, guys. Moment of truth. Time. You guys, it is so good. So if you guys want to come out to Sugar Daddy's, look out for the yellow lemon. I'm talking with my mouth full. Yellow lemon, you can't miss it. That's you guys. McNewton's Community Outreach Center has been here for 3 years, and the president tells me it just breaks his heart to see how much damage was done in just one night. Take a look at this. So he tells me he thinks the pressure from all of those floodwaters caused this wall to cave in, sending a mudslide throughout this entire basement and through the facility. It's hard for me to even walk because it's still so incredibly muddy and wet. Rescue teams continue to search for scores of missing people after catastrophic flooding ravaged central Texas about a week ago. At least 129 people have died and at least 150 are still missing. Ivan Rodriguez is in Kerrville, Texas, covering the tragic stories of loss and tough questions being thrown at officials. If you've noticed something different riding the bus downtown, you're not alone. We asked riders their thoughts on these new leaning benches. We spoke to some riders who had visible physical conditions holding canes. As you can imagine, they weren't fans of the change. Others didn't seem to mind it, though. We asked KCATA their thoughts on why they replaced these benches in the first place.
I feel like they are taking space up from those that have to have a seat, and we need seats.
Some KC bus riders have noticed a change recently while waiting for the bus. New leaning benches have been installed at bus stops on 12th and Grand, 11th and Grand, and the East Village Transit Center, and they've stirred mixed reactions. Some people have embraced the change.
I feel like it's very convenient and it's very efficient for me and for people that want to work out and do better.
While others see it as a burden.
I had to have my feet amputated due to the cold and frostbite, and I felt like due to conditions such as mine, I felt like some could be going through the same.
The KCATA say the new benches are part of an effort to reduce loitering and limit how long people wait at the bus stop.
We have a lot of people that feel really comfortable at our bus stops, but they aren't necessarily taking the bus. We want to make an environment that's comfortable for all people who are trying to use our transit system.
Policy leaders with Bike Walk KC describe the approach as an example of what they call hostile infrastructure, designed to push people away rather than welcome them.
It's not an effective step just because it really speaks to a broader issue around a lack of investment in transit funding as well as a lack of investment in shelter services for people who are experiencing houselessness.
He says the issue is more than just about seating. It's about dignity.
And if we're serious about trying to create an environment where people feel safe and people can wait with dignity, then leaning benches are not going to solve the problems that the KCATA has identified.
The KCATA is describing this as a test program, getting feedback from riders and local businesses. It's still up for discussion whether or not more leaning benches will be installed at other bus stops in the future. In downtown KC, Nydja Hood, KCTV5. It's a party out here at the Hope Center. You can hear all the applause. There is live entertainment going on behind me. There is actually a line wrapped around us. They're waiting on some good food. You've got vendors here on site selling merchandise. I mean, Juneteenth is a day of pride and celebration, but also a chance to learn how we got here. In fact, just 7 miles away, the Warnell House opened its doors to give people insight into the history in their own backyard. Here at the intersection of 61st and Warnall sits a house with deep roots in Kansas City's history.
What wasn't talked about is that Missouri was a slave state.
John Warnall and his family are recognized as pioneers in the city's early history, making a fortune off of farming. What many people don't know, as historians explain, is that much of this fortune was built off of the backs of slave labor.
Missouri was a small-scale slavery state. Most people owned fewer than 10 enslaved individuals, and so it was a lot more of an intimate relationship.
Warnall enslaved 6 people on the property between the years of 1843 and 1863. However, museum staff says there's little information about who they were.
It shows how little the Warnall family thought about these individuals, that they didn't write down their names, what they did.
She explains even after formerly enslaved people were declared free, their fight for freedom was far from over. Property deeds in Jackson County prohibited black homeownership, driving people across the state line.
And so a lot of free people from this area moved into Kansas. They started their own communities of solely black individuals, black-owned newspapers, black-owned everything.
She says racial divides still segregate the city to this day.
Wow, when did that change?
People who call the city home now say learning this history helps put things in perspective.
Having relatives born and raised also in the city during those times of the redlining and couldn't go past certain things, it just helps me appreciate more of the efforts that were put forth.
I mean, we always think about the Civil War and slavery as something that's not here. It was very much here, so I hope to learn more about that today.
Facing these uncomfortable truths in history is part of what makes Juneteenth a day worth celebrating.
We have lots of work to do, but this is a step to get toward where we need to be.
So the Warnall House, they say they actually have a pretty interesting project in the works. They are working with the Mellon Foundation and UMKC to create a website with the names of formerly enslaved people using property deeds. So that information will help people to understand more information about their home and if formerly enslaved people live there. As for the party going on here at the Hope Center, that all wraps up tonight at 7:30 p.m. In Kansas City, Nydja Hood, KCTV5. For as long as Liz Kelly Hansen can remember, she's always had a little pep in her step and song in her voice.
I can't really put into words because it's in my blood and it was my whole life.
This Kansas City girl says she was born for the stage, dancing since she was 3 and performing at the Starlight Theater since the age of 7. Little did she know how far her talents would take her.
I've had a very colorful life. I have no regrets.
In 1969, Kelly moved to California, where she was recruited for the Dean Martin Show and became part of the Gold Diggers. Now online, these clips of her time on stage with Dean Martin have been viewed tens of thousands of times over. Liz toured all across the world, singing alongside some of Hollywood's biggest names like Glenn Campbell.
I'm blessed.
But one of her most memorable moments was one that didn't include the lights and cameras.
So it was just another performance for me till I got there.
What started as memorable also became patriotic. The Gold Diggers were invited to perform with comedian Bob Hope at his Vietnam War Christmas show in front of 20,000 American troops.
Could you coo? Could you care?
The 2-week-long Christmas show was filled with singing, dancing, and celebrity guests and is still watched by thousands on YouTube to this day.
Getting to Vietnam, it changed my life and who I was going to be when I grew up.
They were tasked with building troop morale with a musical performance to lift their spirits.
I think it changed my values because suddenly I realized the importance of humanity.
It was an experience that changed both her life and others.
He told me that that's all he could think about, and I saved his life.
She says her gifts made thousands of troops smile and moved them to tears during the final curtain call.
Singing Silent Night, knowing that those soldiers would not have silent nights, and we would be coming home able to sleep.
The faces of the young men and women in uniform will stay engraved in her heart forever. And to this day, she still thinks of their sacrifices.
People should be more grateful for what we do have.
Nydja Hood, KCTV5.